A word of warning. The following podcast contains spoilers, alcohol consumption, and careless babbling by two inebriated women. Please enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Absurd Cinema Lounge, a place for cool cocktails and bizarre celluloid. Come in and join your hosts, Kara and Tony, as they discuss the 1977 martial arts revenge film, Death Promise, and quench their thirst on Kung Fu Girl, a Riesling by Charles Smith Wines. The lounge is now open.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Absurd Cinema Lounge, where we have episode number 12, Death Promise.
I don't know about you, but I want to go get me a yellow tracksuit and a half jacket and go running around the block now.
Oh my gosh, this film is crazy, and I loved it. So yeah, this is our episode, Death Promise, from 1977.
I'm gonna get you. That's a promise.
I mean, so it's a revenge film, and they have their own theme song. That's a promise.
And then it went,
Yeah. I love it. Love it.
And opening scene with the yellow jumpsuits, the tracksuits. That's what I was kind of getting at. Is the two best friends, Charlie and Speedy, are running around the block, with their matching yellow.
So I think we're gonna have fun with this one because,
But it was good. So
right, it ticks a few boxes for I know Tony's favorite with the fashion, 1970s, the music,
yes,
and just the absurd, crazy talk and everything. So yeah, I think she liked this one a lot. Oh my gosh.
So before we get into this movie, Kara, what else have you been watching lately?
Well, I've been watching Moon Knight on Disney.
What's that?
It's another superhero comic book thing, a Marvel character played by God, what's his name? He plays Poe Dameron in the new Star Wars movies, but
Not Paul Bettany, right?
No, he plays Vision. I like him
know
too.
any of these characters.
So I didn't know anything about this, character. My husband knows a little bit of it because he's like a big Marvel fan, and he's read a lot of the comics and stuff like that. So I'm always asking him, "Who's this? What's going on?" But it is pretty entertaining. I like it because it has a lot of Egyptian themes in it because that's what it's about. It's the Egyptian gods are all fighting and everything like that. So in modern day, but the guy, his character, he basically has like dissociative personality disorder. So he's got multiple personalities.
Okay.
So he switches back and forth through the show. So one, you have a real weak one who's like really smart. Then you've got one that's really strong and, kicks butt. So it's very interesting. I do like it. Other than that, I haven't really been watching too much stuff. Yeah, I don't know. What about you?
I watched one of our movies, so you need to watch this.
One
Okay.
of our movies?
Yeah. It's The House Next Door, Meet the Blacks 2. Okay. It stars Mike Epps, which hilarious. I mean, you've seen him in many different movies. So the plot of the story: surviving a night of terror on the West Coast, author Carl Black, who's Mike Epps, moves his family back to his childhood home in Chicago, and his quest to find peace and quiet takes an unexpected turn when he meets the eccentric new homeowner next door, who is Cat Williams, but convinced that the man is a vampire. Carl and his oddball neighbors join forces to save themselves from the blood-sucking undead. So
that's from IMDb.
Yes. But definitely it's hilarious. If it's one of our crazy funny things,
like a scary movie
yes.
and all that, like grab my strong hand.
Right. I mean, remember Mike Epps from,
Yeah.
from Friday.
Yes.
You know,
Where can they watch that if they want to?
I found it on Stars through Hulu.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's hilarious, and you know, he was also in Welcome Back Home, Roscoe Jenkins,
Oh,
and you know, he has stand-ups on Netflix. Hilarious. The best line that I just had me, I was peeing my pants, was he sees Cat Williams and he's like floating down the stairs, and he's dressed like in a red robe, and he has like a white wig on, and he goes, looking like a, he said, looking like a pimp Hugh Hefner. So hilarious. So you have to watch it.
that's awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, so
What have been drinking, right?
yep, you know, I'm gonna ask that.
I have had quite a few margaritas lately. Now, everybody, that's my drink of choice. I don't like them frozen. I like them on the rocks.
Yeah, I feel like I get drunk that way.
I just get full.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going out and have
Especially
tacos or something.
having a drink
Yes.
right with your tacos.
Oh, not Cinco de Mayo will be coming up soon, so that will be a margarita day.
Yes. What day is Cinco de Mayo on? Well, the first.
I think it's
is
on
Sunday.
a Thursday.
Oh man.
Yes,
I have
because
to call
we
off
do.
work.
We have dinner plans with one of our friends. Hi, Barbie.
Friends.
Friends.
Oh,
Enunciate.
on Friday, so we will have
On the 6th, yeah. So
Oh, I'm invited to that too.
yes.
Okay.
So I don't know. We might have to just do something big that day,
Yeah.
because it's so weird when these things are like on a weeknight and you work. It's like there.
Yeah. And I'm all for getting trashed, and but that doesn't really happen anymore, during
Right.
the week. For today's cocktail,
I wasn't very creative for this movie because I just could not think of one. Sometimes I'll delve into like, oh, this was made in 77. Let's find a cocktail that was popular. Well, instead I thought, let's just kind of play with the subject matter. And we are drinking wine today,
dun, dun, dun.
a bottle of Riesling called Kung Fu Girl,
Yes, and it's pretty tasty.
because our movie contains kung fu fighting.
And I did look when you were talking about this was going to be the drink. I did look to see, where could you buy this if I like it, because I'm a wine drinker. But I did see Target and Jewel. It's not your traditional American or Riesling,
Yeah.
which I like because I'm a sweet or semi-sweet drinker. Usually they're normally very dry, but this was pretty crisp and tart. Kung Fu Girl. Okay, I was like Kung Fu fighting.
No, Kung Fu Girl. It's got a
Yeah.
cute little label, like a hand-drawn Kung Fu Girl.
Yeah. I mean, usually Rieslings aren't.
One of your favorite ones.
Yeah, and definitely it surprised me. So I do like it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think we recommend it to other people.
Yeah,
Yeah. I actually have a
and the
Riesling-
bottles looks cool.
I have a Riesling here. It's called All Monsters Attack. It's got kaiju monsters like Godzilla and stuff
Yeah.
on it. I haven't opened that one.
Where'd you
yet.
get that?
Actually, somebody gave it to me. They gifted it to me, so I can't
And
remember.
you didn't even open it?
I haven't opened it yet. No, but
You
I
just-
should. She's probably gonna say, "Open it right now after this show." Oh, but yeah, so that's what we're drinking today, and let's go ahead and get into our movie.
It had some Sugar Hill vibes, but it stands on its own
Because it
nothing
is-
will be better than Sugar Hill.
I know, it's a revenge film. This film can be found on Tubi.
That's where I watched it.
Yes. It's not got a Blu-ray quality to it. A lot of times Tubi will have these old movies and you're like, wow, that looks really great. But no, this is pretty grainy and, it's perfectly watchable. I didn't have any problems with it. The premise of this movie is there's these slumlords that want to evict.
Which is some hardcore slumlords. That's what I was like, what?
Well, yeah, they want to evict the tenants so that they can tear down the properties and put up commercial businesses and buildings. And some of the ways that they try to get them to leave is they turn off all their utilities so they don't have water or electricity. In one scene, they come in and sneak and release rats into the building.
Help! He's releasing rats. And then-
That was your pick. He kept saying, "Help! Help! Help! They're putting rats down. Help! Releasing rats. Help!"
And
help.
these rats are in this box. And when he turns the box over, dust goes flying out of them. And I'm like, oh my God.
And you could tell that these rats are like painted. Like,
Yes.
they're like white rats, but they put coloring on them.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then they also at one point try to set the building on fire. So while they're doing all of these things, we have our main characters. We have Charlie and Speedy, and they're two good friends.
Yes.
Charlie is played by
Charlie or Charles.
Charles Bonnet. Bonnet.
I know. We try to get him,
I know.
And Speedy is Speedy Leacock.
Yes. And Speedy I did not find any other movies or anything that man has been in. But Charlie, he's been in a couple movies. One notable movie that I know, because I'm into the horror movies, was 1979's Don't Go in the House. Some people may remember that if they're into that type of film. Deranged guy brings women into his house, and he's got a whole like fireproof room, and he sets them on fire in there.
He doesn't set him on fire? What?
Yeah, he chains them up and sets them on fire.
Oh my God.
Because he's got a weird mom complex. Because okay, that'll be a movie we may have to do. It's pretty seedy. Not to get into that too much, but that he was in that movie. He wasn't a main character. He was just like one of the side characters in that movie. Charles Bonnet is an actual martial artist. He has been instructing martial arts for decades.
And he did the ones with my God, why am I just having a blank here?
What's that? He was in a movie called Black Dragon.
Yeah, he also didn't he do with Bruce Lee? Yeah.
No, he didn't.
No, I was
There was one of those because martial
Fists
arts
of
in the
Bruce Lee.
70s, Bruce Lee actually fired that up. Everybody was
Mhm.
all interested in it. So that's why you have a lot of these movies in the 70s. So, but
makes me think of Bruce
they
Lee,
would
but-
put Bruce Lee's name in there and have maybe an actor portraying Bruce Lee.
which was very easy.
Yeah.
Like this guy, he has the bowl black haircut.
Yeah,
and-
but he's Latin.
which is
He's not
funny.
Asian.
Yeah, he's not even Asian.
But yeah, that's a little bit about the main characters and their friends, and they live in this slum apartment building. And Charlie's dad lives with him as well. Charlie's dad likes to kind of investigate things and get involved. Like he wants to go to the higher ups and tell them off, and they can't
Right.
live like that. Well, if these business guys have their mind set on something, and this idiot wants to come and start complaining about it, that's not going to fare well for you. Sorry, Charlie's dad, which his name is Louis. And
Who is played by Bob O'Connell.
yes, and he was in films such as Bananas, that's a Woody Allen movie, which is comedy. And then also he was in Dark Shadows. I think one of the movies, Dark
Yeah.
Shadows. So we have our heroes, I guess you would say.
Doing a quick lap around the neighborhood
Yeah.
shows kind of how invested they are. They like where they live. They get along with their neighbors. You kind of get to see, the outline of the area. So they're running, and so they're like finally come to a stoop, and they're like, "All right, I'm gonna get ready, and I'll see you at the dojo."
Right, because they go and practice at the dojo.
And so Charlie goes up to his apartment, and then we get to see like how they really live. I mean, it's like a tiny little apartment.
New York apartment, like a
Yeah.
postage stamp.
And turn off the electricity. They've turned off the water because he tries to take a shower. And,
Right. Yeah, so life is kind of hard, I guess, for them,
Yeah.
And so he tells the dad, they're kind of like, "Oh, not again," because I guess this is it occurs all the time. So we got to deal with that because and we have to have scenes of them in the dojo practicing.
Yes.
Yeah, they're showing their moves off. But we have his dojo, his sensei. His name is Shibata, and he's very close with him, and his dad knows him too, and so he just seems like he's a really good friend and mentor.
And it seems like they've found, I mean, they've never said this, but what it looks like to me, because they try to make it clear how either there's a fine line, either you're a good guy or a bad guy. So they're choosing good and looking after their neighborhood and in their spare time. That's why they're at the dojo.
Right. So they're not getting into any trouble. They're doing,
Because a lot of these guys in the neighborhood have been hired by their henchmen for
yes,
these men.
the slumlords.
Yeah.
So Charlie's dad starts getting involved, and he goes to complain to some of the slumlords, and they have it out. They're like, no, he's going to be a problem. He's blocking their path of getting rid of this building. And Charlie's dad is kind of like almost like I don't know if you felt like this, like he talks to everybody in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows each other. They try to comfort each other and
look out for each other.
Yes. So that's kind of what's going on. And every time they try to do anything, they're trying to set the building on fire. Here comes Charlie and Speedy, and they just start kicking butt. So they're getting to be in the way as well. So one day Charlie comes home, and he's coming home. He goes home, and then he finds his dad has been murdered in laying on the kitchen floor.
No blood,
no nothing. He's just laying there. But what I thought was funny was, so Speedy's walking down the street.
Because he was like, hey, dude, see you later.
See you later. So
go home. Or he asked him, are you going to be okay? Should I wait? Make sure you get inside.
Right. So Speedy's outside, and all of a sudden you hear, ah!
And so then he turns around.
And he just comes in running out of the building. Charlie does. And that was it. And I'm like, okay, so there's no police investigation.
And he just runs away. Well, Speedy goes inside.
And that's where we see it.
And he sees him. And so he calls the sensei.
Yes.
And the sensei says, I had to rewind this twice. How he go to heaven?
Oh my God.
And I go, they did not do that.
And I'm sure this guy, he is Asian, but I don't think I think he's American Asian.
Yes.
So he doesn't have an accent, and he's putting on this accent that I'm like, oh my gosh,
So he calls, and obviously they didn't even check him to see is he dead?
No,
but they just assumed he was dead.
No ambulance. He just goes running out and then goes to the sensei. And then the sensei pulls out a letter and says, your dad said to give this to you if anything ever happened to him, but don't open it until you absolutely need to. And I'm like, okay. Then he wants to take on these people. He wants to get his revenge. Charlie does.
And it kind of looks like he goes to Nebraska.
Well,
for a weekend.
Sensei sends him to get training from this master.
In the middle of nowhere.
But where does he go? I don't know where he goes.
I mean, they don't show him on a plane or a train or a car.
He just appears there. And I think he's there for a total of 12 hours, it seems like. I don't know how long the span of time was supposed to be where he trained.
Right. So meanwhile, Speedy's trying to...
on rooftops.
Staring at him and checking him out.
He's doing some surveillance work.
Yeah. And he's finding out who these guys are and kind of their routines and who's involved with them.
So Speedy's doing all the real work. He is.
Hiding, sneaking around corners.
Right.
And then we get to see the 6 dudes.
Yes.
And each dude is just as weird as the next. And there's one that's like a Snoop Dogg.
Yes. Oh, he's a pimp. Oh, yeah.
And I say that just because they have him with he looks like a classic
70s
pimp.
Yeah.
There's even a scene which I was like, why did this have to be in this movie?
I don't know. But there's the other guys are these old white guys. And they feel like they're untouchable. So they all are planning and plotting,
Always just laughing with each other.
Right.
Together and shaking hands.
But yeah, the scene that Tony's referring to, I don't even remember his name, but he's the black slumlord. I guess that's what we're calling them.
Yeah.
He's at the house with this woman, and she has no shirt on.
Talking about how her man's going to kill her.
Yeah.
So I think it was a drug deal.
Something.
I just couldn't figure out exactly what was going on.
And she, obviously she's in love with him, Why, I don't know.
Please, he's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
Or no, my old man's gonna kill me. And he goes, well, take your top off.
Yeah. I don't understand that. And it was just horrid. I'm sorry.
It was an image burned into my brain.
Yes. And, if you want to look this up, you watch the movie, or there are images online of this, I'm sure. This woman. Okay, would you say she's
There was
like
a moment of weird silence.
Yeah. She's like, she's pretty endowed.
Yes, but her
The nipples were basically the entire size of her boob.
I mean,
What the heck? I mean, no, that is just weird to me.
and he's just like, come here, baby.
I'm just. So when that scene cuts away,
Can you have a nipple reduction?
I don't know. She needed one.
And it was just strange. It was just the weirdest thing.
It's like they said, "Oh, we have to put this scene in there."
Yeah, it was just kind of. It was
I mean,
strange. It was
somebody
just
needs to call Ripley's,
setup.
believe it or not. I'm sorry. I'm
So
sorry.
meanwhile, when he's training in Nebraska with the sensei is like 20 years old with white paint in his hair.
Again, speaking broken English. Very badly, mind you. And then he's got another guy there, another student.
And they're getting along and they're like
getting along.
fighting each other
Yeah.
and
And they're like, "Oh, you did that move. Oh, that was a good move. I'm gonna perfect that move
yeah.
too."
Ooh, ah, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
Flick, flick, flick.
And then
Yeah.
later, of course, he perfects the one move in 12 hours, and then okay, it's time for me to go.
Yeah.
Gotta get my revenge.
And we see Speedy closing in on him.
Right.
So a total of 2 days, maybe.
Right. And we didn't mention too, but the letter that he does open the letter, and the dad tells him in the letter all of their names, all the slumlords' names, and what they're up to and things like that. So he does have that, and that's where he's built his foundation of revenge on. So he goes back, and then the other, when he leaves, the little student's like, "Man, I'll miss you."
I'm coming to the big city to look you up.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
Are they supposed to be in China or something?
I thought it was Nebraska.
Well, the guy, the student, he was speaking like he was from Harlem. "Yo, man,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go visit you." And I'm like, I thought he was like a Chinese student.
Right.
Anyway,
So he's like, no, don't, because I'm taking care of some business. So he's like, I want to come, So he gets back and he hooks back up with Speedy, and Speedy tells him all the deets.
right, and so he tells him, "Speedy, thank you, but I don't want you involved. This is my revenge." And then Speedy's like, "Oh, hell no.
They're taking my neighborhood.
They're taking my neighborhood. I've done all this surveillance work. I ain't gonna let this go to
I'm telling
waste."
you who's who, and
Yeah. So they decide to work together, which is awesome. So some of the great kills in here. My favorite one, there's two of them actually. My first favorite kill is there's this one of them's laying at his pool.
oh yeah,
And,
yeah. It was an arrow.
Yeah. And laying by his pool, and he's like he's shooting with a bow and arrow, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm good." And then this little lackey guy,
I thought it was like a son.
I don't know who he was. Let me touch on that once we get done with this part. But so he's like, "Go get your bow and arrow, and you can shoot arrows with me too." And he's like, "Oh man, I don't know, I'm not good." He goes, "You do it." So he goes into this like closet in a garage or somewhere and finds this bow and arrow.
Meanwhile, while he's doing that,
So we got Charlie and Speedy. They hop the fence, and they kind of scoping out the yard, and they capture him, and we don't see what happens to him. We just know they've got him. So then here comes the little lackey guy, and he's like, "Oh, where are you at?" And he's like, "Oh, must have went inside or something to get a drink." And so he starts to
well, I might as well shoot.
use his bow and arrow, yeah. And then we look, and then the guy is tied up on the other side of the target. And he's gagged and everything. And so then he gets killed by the bow and arrows, or the arrows, not
Yeah,
the
they
bow
show
and
him like getting like killed.
yes. So I like that part. I thought that was cool because then the lackey comes walking over. He's like, "Oh," and that was it. There was no other reaction. There was no like, "Oh my god," Yeah.
Now, Alden is the main one.
Oh, he's that. Yeah, the last
Yeah.
one. There's another one. I don't remember his name.
Mirsky, Jackson,
Oh, Jackson. Yes.
and Albano.
He was the one that had all of the guards around him. Like he says, nobody's going to get me. I am highly, highly protected. And then he has just a bunch of bodyguards.
And they're just like running through the building
And well, the way that Charlie gets him is he climbs up on the roof and he climbs down and I don't know if he cuts a hole or there's a window, but he takes a string and he this is some ninja stuff right here.
Oh, yeah.
Takes the string and he puts it over the guy sleeping with his mouth open.
With poison.
And he puts poison on the string and it drips down in his mouth and then he takes the string out and then they head out. Well, then the guy's dying. So he gets him.
Right.
So
and
that was
then
another
the guy, the one that kept saying he's going to move to Florida to look him up. Did you see they open the door and his girlfriend is standing there in front of him and he pushes the girlfriend into Charlie and Speedy?
Yes. Yes. This is another great one with Jackson's death.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they chase him down to the garage in the apartment building, I'm guessing, right? So they chase him down there, but okay, so was he driving the car like through the corridors or was he able to drive
it was like
up there?
Yeah, it just had like a very small, I don't know if that was meant for that because there was an elevator too that the car could sit on. It was just a weird building. But yeah, he was they were chasing him through there driving.
Yeah. And then little and
yes.
break the window again, single pane.
Right. But the way that Jackson gets his is another favorite of mine. Speedy is the one that I think dispatches this, and of course the lady there, but she's got her top on, thank God.
Oh yeah, this is the pimp.
Yes, Jackson, the pimp guy. They come in there and they put a bag over his head that's got hungry rats in it. So death by rats. And she is screaming bloody murder.
And I'm like, go take that shit off his head.
Yeah. And she's doing this whole thing where she's rubbing her face and her hair and she's all like, I'm crazy. This is not happening.
I guess because I have clothes on.
Yeah.
So he's dead. So
Yes.
all the henchmen or all the partners are dead.
Yes.
And he's going after the main dude, Alden.
Right.
And so they find him. They chase him up there. And meanwhile, hi, friend. I'm here to help.
Yeah. The guy flew over from China, Nebraska. Yo, man, I'm here to help.
Yeah.
So
all
they're
three of
happy to
them,
see him.
Yeah, we're like, yeah, because we need to take him down.
Right. So they all are fighting on a rooftop and kicking butt.
Taking turns.
And yeah. And how did he?
Because he gets knocked off the roof.
Right.
But
You think that, oh, it's over. It's great. All the bad guys are gone. And then all of a sudden, they're like, yeah. And they, somebody else is here.
The real killer.
The real killer, the main person in charge of all this stuff is Shibata.
The sensei.
The sensei.
From America, not Nebraska. Or
right. China, Nebraska.
Yeah.
He's the one that killed his dad. Which made sense. I mean, if he came in to the house, there was no struggle.
Oh, he'd go to heaven. It was fake.
Yeah. And so it's made known that he is part of the Yakuza, and he was in charge of everything, and the henchmen guys, the slumlords, were working for him. So then now we've got a fight. And now it's a little bit more, because they're kind of on equal footing as far as their fighting skills. So we've got a sword slash to the back. we've got nice. We've got Tony's giving her sound effects. Lots of punching and kicking, and all three of them are all involved. All three of them are fighting this one guy, and eventually, of course, they win.
Mm-hmm.
They win, and then everything is all good there, and then we get our soundtrack again. That's a promise. So yeah, that was Death Promise. Very,
It was entertaining.
it was.
You know, I can't imagine. Let me go to the store and I need an orange shirt to go with my orange bell bottoms.
Okay, yeah. Now let's talk about this because I made a note on my notes. Talk about the clothes. So this movie is a pure 70s. You've got some polyester pants that
All
flare.
tight. And those ones that he was, in the beginning, that one henchman, skinny, they're high waisted, skinny, flared out after the knees.
Oh yeah, like
And-
Charo.
Yeah, but then like Chucks with like socks.
And they all had these like shirts that matched the color of their pants.
Yeah.
And they were this crazy designs. So you've got like,
And tight.
yeah, tight.
No
I got,
fat.
Yeah. I got maroon pants on with my green, orange, maroon
Mm-hmm.
shirt. Another guy had blue. I'm like, this was some Sears catalog stuff. Like they were serious with these clothes.
Yes. And then they got the yellow jumpsuits
Uh-huh.
with the
Like they're tracksuits.
tracksuits, but they're like half jackets.
Yeah, they were midriff. I didn't
Yeah.
understand that.
I mean, I know they got killer abs and all, but it looked hot too.
Temperature hot.
Yes.
I think that would be itchy. I don't know what they're made from, but like they weren't wearing shirts underneath those, and they were running.
No, and they were hot, like sweaty.
So, would you recommend this?
Oh yeah, fun night.
I agree. Riff Tracks does. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Riff Tracks, but it's the guys that did Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's a little different now. You don't have the bots and stuff at the bottom of the screen. They just talk over it. It is a hilarious show. It got some great comments on that. And that's also available on Tubi as well. So if you want to watch the original one, or if you want to watch something in the background, I recommend that one too.
Nice.
Yeah. How's the wine? It's gone.
Yeah, it was very good. I mean, I drank it all.
I know. We've been polishing off this wine. So I think we'll turn it over to announcer guy. Unless Tony has any other tidbits about the movie.
That's all.
That's all.
Folks.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
It was a good one. It was a short one too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a pretty short one.
Yeah. And until next time, bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Absurd Cinema Lounge with your hosts, Kara and Tony. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe. You can write to the ladies of the lounge at absurdcinemalounge@gmail.com. Become a lounger and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Absurd Cinema Lounge. The music for today's episode, Death Promise by Opus and Ah by Taj. Our featured drink for this episode was Kung Fu Girl Riesling by Charles Smith Wines. Death Promise is Madison World Film and Boston Film Production. No copyright infringement is intended. Be sure to join us where the ladies will discuss the 1977 made-for-TV film, The Spell. I'm announcer guy telling you, that's a promise, I'm gonna get you. That's a promise, I'm gonna blow your mind. The lounge is now closed.